Hello, friends. Welcome to another YouTube video and I guess free training that I wanted to share with you guys. Today, I specifically want to talk about my business model and my journey with my business model, as well as what it's going to be looking like into 2026. So, if you are curious about what a coaching business model or service based business model looks like and how it can grow and evolve and actually grow in income, I want to share that journey with you guys and also what I have learned and how I have come to grow my own business. Um, Now, to start, I do want to share this caveat that I have had a slower growth than other coaches out there, like specifically in my industry, but that has been very intentional in the sense that I have seen how a lot of other coaches have grown their businesses, have grown through their business models, and it has not been in alignment for me. And that has caused me to be very intentional about how I show up, how I support clients, the services that I create, the business model that I build, because for me, it's very important that I'm always in integrity and alignment in the way that I show up to serve others through my business. And so, really finding that for myself has been key. And sometimes that's the longer path and longer journey, but I completely believe that it is worth it in order to always be in alignment with yourself. Um, Now, I have still been able to grow. I have still been able to be a full time entrepreneur for a long time. And for that, I am very grateful and very blessed. So, I started officially full time coaching back in 2017, which is a long time ago. And I started with one on one coaching. That was my focus, that was my emphasis. And that has actually always been my number one focus. Since 2017, one on one coaching has always been my main offer and my main priority. And the reason why is because I have seen how one on one support is the best way, I believe, to support clients because it's very intimate, it's very personal, it's very customized. I believe that every person is different. I believe that every business is different. I believe in building a business that aligns with you and that what you are meant to build is very different from what I build and from what others build. And so I believe my job is to figure out what does this look like for you, right? So one-on-one has always been my focus since 2017. I have throughout the years also brought in other offers like group programs. My groups have always been very intimate. They've always been under 10 people. If anything, they've been between 4 to 6 people, and I have loved it that way because it still creates that sense of intimacy and support and customization and coaching and attention that I believe is really important and that every single client deserves. And so I've brought that in. There was one year, the first year that I hit 6 figures, I believe it was 2022, I believe, was when I brought in some of my group programs, and those did really well. And so that helped me scale my income. But I did have a lot of different offers going on at that time. So I had like one on one, I had groups, I had single sessions. I was kind of like doing all the things. And then after that, that just didn't quite feel in alignment for me anymore because my clients were getting good results because it was like intimate containers, even if it was in a group setting. But my misalignment was actually in continuing to run the same program over and over again and teaching the exact same thing over and over again. Like that didn't feel good to me. Like I needed to kind of like change it up a little bit. And so I tested, and again, this whole time I'm still doing one-on-one. So I kind of tested like the same type of content, but through different programs. And that worked out too. But at the end, I felt like I was just kind of taking the same thing and recreating it and relaunching it. Now, because I've been in this industry and space for so long, like I have been in the online space for at least 12 years, I have seen all kinds of business models. I have seen how coaches who either started around the same time as me or after me have built these huge $1 million businesses, and I've seen how they've done it, right? I have either done some coaching with them, I have joined some of their programs, I have taken some of their courses, I have seen their marketing methods and their business models and how they have scaled to those to hit those benchmarks. And I, again, just haven't felt that it was like in alignment for me. And I think because a lot of the methodologies that I've seen have been just get as many people as you can, right? Like I know in my personal experiences, what I have seen is signing up for a program, a group program that I thought was going to be an intimate group program, and then being in there with 40, 50, 100 people, and then getting lost in that sea of people, right? And you're not really getting that like support that you need. And I'm not saying that that doesn't work. It just doesn't work for me. The other thing I've seen is people growing through having a specific copy and paste type of framework, right? Copy and paste this, do what I'm doing. And I can always tell usually when someone is like working with a specific coach because they just become like a little minion of them. Where for me, my intention is that none of my clients' businesses and lives look like mine unless they want it to, right? Because I want to figure out what your life and what your business is supposed to look like. And so the disconnect that I would see is, for example, somebody who's further along in their journey trying to sell a framework to copy and paste, but then it doesn't work for perhaps people who are more at the start of the journey or a different phase of the journey. Why? Because you're trying to skip all of these steps. And, if this successful millionaire business owner has built their success off of a membership, and then they're trying to teach you how to copy and paste that, and you're trying to replicate it, but you're brand new, it's not going to work for you, right? Because they have a certain level of audience and authority and trust that they've built, and they're also able to they have a massive following, right? So they can sell a membership for $40 or $90 or whatever the cost and make the revenue they want to make, versus somebody who's just getting started with a smaller audience. It's not going to quite create the right results. And you could even copy and paste and you just will not see those results. The other layer that we have to keep in mind here is what I believe and call is the energetic component, right? So I believe that you could have $1 million strategy and it will not work for you if you are not in alignment with it. And to me, this is where the energetic work comes in. So when I first started business coaching, it was solely business coaching. Eventually, it evolved, and because I'm going like real like way back with this. When I started coaching, there were not a lot of women of color coaches. And I was showing up and I was taking up space. And because of that, I would attract a lot of women of color, right? Because you're seeing a lot of white coaches and then there's me. So naturally, they would be attracted to work with me. And what I found is that, and I think this is not only women of color, but I see this a lot with women of color, is like we just carry a different level of trauma, baggage, beliefs, blocks from our lineages, and just from the experiences that we have had as people of color in this society. So, because of that, we don't always see the same results that other people do. And I initially saw this with myself, where I would enter these spaces that were mainly white. And, maybe it was, I would sign up with a coach. A lot of like the popular or like really solid coaches that are out there, I have probably worked with a good chunk of them. I would enter these spaces and I would see all of these other people in the group getting results, and then I would struggle with those results, and I realized I had these blocks and barriers that they didn't have. And initially it made me think and feel and believe that there was something wrong with me. And I held that for a long time. I was like, I think there's something wrong with me. Like, why is everybody else getting results? Why do I have these fears showing up and these things, these blocks showing up that they don't seem to have? And the reality is that we had just very different experiences, very different things running through our lineage that created a different experience from, even though we were in the same program. So this is when I started to get into energy work, because I not only saw it in myself, I began to see it with my clients, where I would give them a strategy and they would struggle to implement it. And this is when I realized that just doing business coaching was not enough. I was going to have to take it deeper. I was going to have to go take things to another layer, because if someone is not implementing a strategy, what is the point of giving them that strategy, right? So I wanted to get into the depth and dig into the layers. So it actually was during the pandemic. I joined a program. I got into energy work. I awakened my intuitive gifts, and I learned how to get into the depth of somebody's blocks and fears and their soul and their purpose and their calling, and how to clear past lives and go into the Akashic records and all the things. And when I started to couple that with my business coaching, now the results were there even before, but now we were taking things to another level, because we were healing scarcity, we were healing lineages. That's the work I'm doing now, right? And so it just got so deep, and it just solidified my belief and my stance in one-on-one coaching. So that continued to be the pillar, right? Even though I knew that it wasn't how I was going to grow to millions, but I was okay with that, because my priority is always to serve my clients well and for them to have the best possible experience they can possibly have. And I will never, my thing was, I saw coaches scaling their businesses, but sacrificing the quality of their services in order to do that. And I'm not saying that it's not possible to scale without sacrificing the quality. I'm just saying what I saw and experienced. And so for me, I was like, I'm never going to do that. I'm never going to sacrifice the quality of what I do for the sake of money, right? So, the other component that comes into play here for me when we talk about a business model is pricing, okay? So to be completely honest with you guys, hold on, quick water break. To be completely honest with you guys, I struggled for a really, really long time to call myself a coach. And the reason why is because as a coach, I feel very disconnected from the coaching industry, and I don't really resonate with the coaching industry and a lot of the ways that they do things, as you can hear, right, through me sharing this very transparent way of thinking. I've always struggled to connect with the industry itself and the way that they do things, from the pricing to the way they scale business models. It just doesn't align with me and the way that I believe I'm meant to do things. And so when I started coaching, I followed, my pricing, to be honest, has been all over the place. And I think I'm going to do a separate training around pricing, because I think that, and money, because that's such a big topic. And But for me personally, pricing was always a sticking point because coaching is not cheap, right? It is an investment, it costs a lot of money. Now, there's so much I can say about money, and I just won't get into it in this audio or in this recording, but it's not cheap. And my sticking point with it was that I knew my audience, and I knew, I'm working with women of color, a lot of women of color. I know their situations, I know their finances because we talk about all of this stuff in our sessions. And so I never followed suit, or rarely followed suit, of like what the pricing should be, right? When I first launched, I still remember when I got my very first coaching client, and I launched with the industry rate at that time, which was, I believe it was 1,250 per month for one-on-one coaching. And to me, that just sounded like the wildest amount of money. And I was like, oh my God, like who's going to pay that? How are they going to pay that? And I still remember booking my very, very first coaching client, and she paid me that. And I remember I was like shaking when she was like, oh yeah. And like I told her the price and she said yes. And I was like, oh my God, is she actually going to pay me this? Like I couldn't believe it. Like it, in my mind, I'm like, is she sure? And signed up, paid me. She got an amazing, amazing, amazing results that way surpassed what she was paying me. But even then, I struggled, and I struggled really, really, really hard with the pricing, especially because I also had a lot of my own mindset blocks around money. I had not worked on my relationship with money at all, so it was rough, but I was able to get through it. And then when I started to bring in the energetic side of things, my pricing actually shifted. And I think it was because it brought to the surface my blocks around money. And so I want to say I started offering energetic coaching. Like I kind of had like the business, and then I was like, let me dabble in the energetic and do like readings and things like that. Um, I want to say started around 500 per month, went up to probably 800 at some point, and then went back to the 1,250. I started to combine the business coaching with the energetic work. That's where it really started to take off, because at first I separated them, and then I decided to weave them together. And then now, full transparency, now my rate is about 2,000 a month, depending on which container people choose. If it's a year long, at the moment of this recording, it's 2,000 per month, or 2,222. The 2,000 is for 12 months. The 2,222 is for 6 months. And what's wild to me, like that's a number that I'm comfortable with, because that's been my other thing, is like I don't change my rate unless I feel like it's time. And I always tune in with my guides to see, like, is it time? Am I in alignment? Are the clients who are meant to work with me also in alignment with that pricing? My clients have worked with me for years at this point, so I also keep in mind where they are at and what they can afford, because I believe that the clients I'm working with are clients who are aligned and assigned to work with me. So I'm not of the frame of mind of like, oh, well, if you can't afford me, too bad. It's like, no, I know who I'm meant to support, and I'm on this journey with them. So, so that's my rate now. What's wild to me is that the industry average now, right? Because the 1,250 was back when I started in 2017. Now the industry average, from what I have seen, because I always like to know where the market's at, is around 4,000 plus per month for one-on-one coaching. So if I were basing my pricing on the industry average and on what other coaches are charging, who have either A, been around as long as I have, or two, have shown up after me, they're charging about 4,000 plus per month for one-on-one coaching. And they don't even have the energetic side. It's all just business. But to me, again, it's like it's alignment, it's my clientele. Um, and I don't know, I keep going back to like, I will never sacrifice quality and experience and the souls I'm meant to support for money. That I just feel so strongly about that, which is why my growth has been quote unquote slower, but 100% in alignment with me. So I've just not allowed myself to be peer pressured or industry pressured into what doesn't align with me, right? And what's interesting too is like I have not worked with coaches with a business coach in a very, 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 very long time. I have worked with coaches, but they're more energetic, intuitive, like focused in other areas. Not a business coach, because I know exactly what they would tell me. They would tell me to double my rate. They would tell me that I need to charge more. They would probably tell me to bring in group programs. Like, I know exactly what they would tell me. And it's like, no, duh. You know, like, yeah, if I double my rate, of course I'm going to double my revenue. But is that in alignment with me? And is that really in alignment with my clients that I know I'm meant to continue this journey with? So that's really important to me. Um, and yeah, it's values, right? I will always go back to my values in business. So what I want to share about 2025 is that I actually need to go to the end of 2024. So I wanted to lay this foundation for you guys to understand what my journey has been and how I've always come back to one-on-one coaching, which by the way, it's really funny to me because now I'm seeing all of these other coaches who have been around for this whole time and have grown with these group programs and frameworks and all these things. Now they're all coming back to one-on-one coaching. They're like, oh yeah, this is the best, da 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 da. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, like it's what I see is they just follow trends, right? This is what's cool now. This is what's popular now. Now I'm gonna do this thing. Where it's like, no, like you find the value and you stick with it. So I've been consistent with this. Um, so my thing has always been, I've always held the question, how do I grow my business? But most importantly, how do I grow it in a way where I am not sacrificing alignment, my values, or the quality and experience that I provide to my clients? And that's been a question for years. And I've been okay with not having an answer for a long time because I've stuck with the one-on-one because that has felt good and aligned. That question has continued. Now, in the end of 2024, I had met my husband at that time. And what's funny is someone told me, I remember in a reading, someone told me that when I met him, our work was gonna like align. And in my mind, I was like, I don't understand how. And it does. Like the work events that he attends, the organizations that he supports, and the work that he does, like it's very aligned with my work. And so I go with him to these events and I meet people, I connect with organizations who are very aligned with what I do. Now, at the end of 2024, I started attending work events with him. And at that time, I did not understand how it was going to connect or what it was going to do for my business specifically, but I would show up. And I remember my intuition telling me when I was at an event, I remember my intuition telling me there's a lot of money here. And into 2025, my intuition was telling me you need to go to these events. At that time, I was just 100% clueless. I was like, why am I here? Like, yes, it's a business event. Yes, it's a women's event. Yes, I'm a business owner, obviously. But I could not understand, like, how will my business and these organizations connect? But building and the way that I have built my business that has always worked for me has been doing it in a way that is intuitively led. Because when I'm naturally actually a very strategic person, so it works out to weave the two together. But I have tried the crazy strategic approach of like, here's the financial goal, here's the offer, here's the right? And it's like, that does not work for me. That's not how my business grows. What works for me is following the intuitive nudges and then coupling strategy with that. And that's what I do with my clients. What's your intuition telling you? What's in alignment? Let's build a strategy around that. And my intuition was telling me, go to these events, in-person events, keep showing up. And I was like, I don't know why I'm here. I didn't even know what to say, right? Because it's like, I'm an intuitive business coach. How do you explain that in a more normal corporate setting, right? How do you explain that to people? And that's why, to me, there was a disconnect. But I knew my intuition's telling me there's a lot of money here, and it's telling me that I need to show up in these spaces. So I would show up. I would feel uncomfortable. I didn't know why I was there. I didn't even know how to talk about my business in a way that would make sense in these settings. But I did it, and I continue to do it. And this is a reminder to you that when the universe is trying to open a door for you, it is going to give you these intuitive nudges that won't make sense, but that will lead you where you need to go. And you need to follow them, even though it's uncomfortable and you don't know why, and there's no logical reasoning, and you're not sure why you're there. You don't know the end goal or the plan or where this is going to take you. You just got to do it. So I did. I did it throughout the year, and by May, I received an opportunity that really grew my business. It brought in a lot of financial income for my business for the year, and that was the start of many others. I started to connect with other organizations. I started to get other opportunities. I started to my business model started to grow and expand, and I started to finally get an answer to the question, how is my business going to grow? How do I grow this business? And so what's beautiful to me is the way that this has now all come together. It just feels really, really good to me, because I have always been a believer and a champion of making, like, starting a business accessible to people, because I believe that it can change people's lives. I believe that it can change your finances. It can change your lifestyle. It can change your kids' lives, your generation, 100%. And I want everyone to have that opportunity. And the people who especially need that are oftentimes the ones who can't afford it. And so what I have come across is the world where there is actually a lot of organizations out there, a lot of nonprofits, a lot of need for and organizations that exist who teach small business owners and people how to start businesses. And because they are nonprofits, they do it for free or for a really low cost. And when I discovered this world, I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. Like, to know that these centers exist, that these organizations exist, that these resources are out there for people, and they're making it accessible for people to go and learn everything they need to know to start their business. And there's so many of them, and they're everywhere. And what's amazing to me is that I am now in a place where I have been an entrepreneur for 12 years. I have built 3 different businesses. I've developed courses and curriculum and frameworks and methodologies and strategies that I have tested with hundreds of entrepreneurs at this point on how to start and grow a successful business. And I have seen what's really needed and what works, and have made it digestible for people. And I've been sitting on all this curriculum that I developed, and I didn't know what to do with, because I was like, I want to coach one-on-one, right? And I have found organizations and universities and centers who need it. because I have all this information and I'm like, how do I share it? How do I go and put it out there? I just have all this information. I want to give it to people so that they can understand that, or they can learn and not make all of the errors and mistakes that I made and not waste all the time and money that I did because I didn't know this. I'm the first entrepreneur in my family. I did not have anybody who could teach me how to build a business. I had to figure it out all by myself and invest in other people helping me. And so finding this world for me has been amazing. And I finally saw the connection. And so I want to say that in 2025, what I kept as my consistency and that helped me be consistent this year was one-on-one coaching. It was one-on-one coaching, and something that I did in 2024 that was new for me. Even though I was doing one-on-one coaching, I was only offering, I think, 6-month containers at that point. At the end of 2024, I decided that I was going to offer a year because I was like, well, some clients are working with me. Actually, pretty much all my clients are working with me for years. So every 6 months, they're having to re-sign up and re-sign an agreement and do that whole thing. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to try it. I'm going to try offering 1 year of coaching. And to be completely honest, I was scared. I wasn't sure if anyone was going to go for it. To me, it felt like such a big commitment. But I was surprised that I actually had, I think, all or the majority of my clients say yes to signing up for a full year. And what that did for my business was incredible, and for my nervous system and for myself, because that meant a year of secured, recurring, consistent income in my business, a year of secured, recurring clients, another year of deep diving with my clients into the depths of their business and the work that they are doing. And that was a game changer for me. And it created consistency for me throughout all of 2025. So now, as I'm going into 2026, I'm doing the same thing. I'm signing on my clients for the upcoming year. My number one thing is the year-long one-on-one coaching, because I know that the longer a client works with me, the better results they get. Because building a business is a long-term commitment. I'm focusing on one-on-one 1 year. Some clients are choosing the 6-month, and that's another option too. But the 1 year. So what that is doing is I'm laying that foundation as I go into 2026 of knowing a year's worth of this amount of income that I can expect for the new year, right? For all of 2026, I know I have this many clients secured, this much income secured for the entire year. So before I even start the new year, I have X amount that I know I'm going to make no matter what. And what I love is that I've been able to get to a place where I know how to make 6 figures just from one-on-one coaching, keeping the price point that feels good to me, which is half of what the industry standard is, but still, not cheap. That's the reality, is not cheap. But it feels good to me, right? And I know the results my clients get and that it works. So I have that. And I'm also starting the year, and this is still a work in progress, right? But I have now developed relationships, partnerships, have started planting seeds and opening doors with a lot of these organizations who are in need of my content, my curriculum, my services, my speaking, my training, right? So for me, it's going to look like doing workshops. And if you follow me, you've seen me posting about these things, right? Teaching in-person workshops. And I love this model because I have my foundation, my one-on-one clients that I'm continuing to support into the new year, my 6 figures secured, right? And then on top of that, I am now growing through these partnerships where they pay me, right? Because they bring me in as a consultant. They pay me, so I get paid for my work, my time, and then I in turn teach their members, their community, for either free or a low cost to them. And that, like, the way that that feels to my soul is, oh, this is what I've been looking for. And I have been patient. I have been patient for it, and it has been worth it because I just refused to do anything that was not in alignment with me and my values. And so now I get to go to these spaces where they can pay me and I get taken care of, and then I go and get to feed everyone else that's there the content, the curriculum, the teaching, and the workshops. And I love it. I love it. I got to do some this year. And I was just like, I love it. Like being in a room where I get to teach people has just been amazing and incredible and so expansive for my soul. So I'm excited because, again, this is still being built and created, but I now know, like, I have my foundation of one-on-one coaching, and I believe that I will always have one-on-one clients. How many I have varies, right? Like in the past, I've had a lot of clients. As I go into the new year, I'm actually limiting this. This will be the least amount of one-on-one clients that I have. But that's because I'm going to be very intentional that those people who are working with me one-on-one are still receiving that quality that is important to me, that support, and that experience, and that it's worth, their investment. I have that amount of money secured. And then on top of that, now I can spend the new year really nurturing and building these other relationships and cultivating what these services will look like with these organizations and these partners. So it's a new facet that I am still building, but I love the fact that it makes things accessible. Like if you're local, I 100% recommend going to these workshops that I'm teaching because I'm taking the same strategies, the same content that I am teaching in one-on-one private coaching, and I'm going and teaching it live in person in these workshops and doing some coaching on the spot as well. And thanks to these organizations and these universities and these partners, they're making it accessible to you. They're making it free or affordable. Like I'm telling you, these workshops are free or $20 like that. And I'm giving you quality content. So I love that. I love that because it means that the people who can't afford coaching can still learn, and you 100% deserve to learn and to grow and start your business if that is something that you are devoted to doing. So, I'm excited. Again, this is still in the works, so it's being developed, but I will keep you guys updated as I continue to do that, as I continue to develop this. There's things I'm doing behind the scenes to develop this that I don't want to talk about publicly just yet, but as I build it, I will share it with you guys. So I'm excited. That's what I'm going to be focusing on in the new year. This year, I honestly did not worry about launching anything. I didn't worry about doing some big crazy thing. I think my big focus in 2025 was to be consistent, to stick to what I know is working for me. And it worked really well. I was able to take care of myself. I was able to increase my pay by a lot. And it's something I look forward to continuing to do in the new year, but now building on it with this other phase of my business that is being built out. So I will keep you guys updated and posted. If you have any questions about what I'm doing, how I'm doing it, let me know in a comment below and I will answer. I think that as a business, it is super important to create consistency, to create repetitive income, repetitive clients. This is something that I do and I teach my clients to do for both service-based and product-based businesses, because I personally started and ran service and product-based businesses. So you can do it, and my clients are both, and I teach them how to do it for both. So let me know what your questions are if you have any thoughts. I also do feel that in-person events are becoming a big thing again since last year. I saw it at the end of 2024. I have seen how attending in-person events, especially in my local community, and continuing to go to events over and over again, I keep seeing the same people, building connections, finding friendships. Like, so many amazing things have come from that. So if you are not already plugged into your local community and attending business events, I highly, highly, highly recommend that. Even if you don't know yet why or how or what, just show up. Show up in the rooms. It makes a big difference. It has grown my business tremendously. Um, so start showing up. Start showing up for those events. Consistency was my thing this year, while being open to my intuition, planting the seeds. And I'm excited to see what comes in 2026. So let me know what your questions are. And thank you for tuning in. I will see you in the next video.